Well, hi everyone, it's Bronnie here again for another day in Bronnie's World, and it's Super Saturday, day 1031 here in Bronnie's World, and I have my favourite doctor in the world back with me again this week. He's going to come back as a regular feature for December, January at this point in time. So you guys, if you have questions, don't forget to let me know if you want him to me to talk to Doc about a specific topic. Okay, so we're going to do something different every week, and also on Saturday afternoons, 2 p.m. here in Australian time, Australian Eastern Daylight Time, you can come and join us for a Zoom where you can ask Doc your own questions and answers. Now, today though, the Doc and I have decided, because there's so many important things I personally and Doc Wallach would love to get out and share with you. And we had a little discussion, and we've decided between us that we should talk about the good food, bad food list, how he came about with that list and why that should happen. And as my gorgeous Doc says, you can't out supplement a bad diet. So guys, we aren't just all about supplements here as certified holistic health coaches and doctors and naturopathic doctors. It's all of you, it's everything. And you've got to start with what you're putting in your body first. That's a good place to start. The supplements will not work if you are not taking care of what you're putting in your body, what you're eating and what you're not eating. So Doc, with no further ado, I'm going to ask you very nicely to explain why and how you came up with the good foods, bad food list, and why these foods are on that list. And yes, so you carry away there, Doc.
Okay, now may I call you Bronnie?
Of course you can. Absolutely.
Okay.
I told you that last week. You taught me anything as long as it's not late for dinner.
Oh my, okay. Well, you have to appreciate that the living organism, whether you're a rat or a wombat or a rabbit or a parrot or a human being or a whale or a rhino or a porpoise, we all have things going on in us metabolically. In other words, we have all these cells. We have liver cells, we have lung cells, we have heart cells, we have intestinal cells, we have kidney cells, we have brain cells, we have skin cells, we have bone cells. People don't think of an organism like that. They just see a rat and they say, okay, it's a rat. You don't know all that stuff's going on in there. And so there's several things, just like when you think of a car or a truck or a motorcycle, anything that has a motor in it. There are certain basic things. And most people know that when you have rotating things like axles and so forth, you need grease, heavy lubricant, so it doesn't wear the iron or steel out. And then you have to have gasoline to burn, to explode, to make combustion, so the pistons will go up and down. And then you have to have oil so that the pistons going up and down in the motor don't wear out, and so on. And then you have to have an air filter so that dust and dirt particles and sand don't get in the motor and wear things out. And you have to have antifreeze when you're in a cold area to put on the windshield so you don't get ice and see. And also the radiator doesn't freeze up. The radiator keeps things cool, so you don't burn the engine up. And all this stuff is going to need air in the tires. And most people don't think about it, but they go into a gasoline station to put fuel in their car. Well, the pump is pumping the gasoline in the tank. They're checking the air in the tire, and they might have to put some extra air in the tire, or they're checking the oil levels and all that kind of stuff. But they don't do it for themselves every day. They don't do it for themselves every day. They go to a doctor once a year. What if you just check all those things in your car once a year instead of every time you go in, to the gas station? Okay, so we're treating the car better than we're treating ourselves. And one of the things you do 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 8 or 10 times a day is put food in your mouth.
Yes.
Okay? And so, again, if you put dirt from Texas into your car instead of oil, say, come on, there's bound to be some oil in that dirt. It's from Texas. Why would I put oil in there and spend $2 a quart for oil when I can just spend 10 cents a quart for that dirt from Texas I'll save a lot of money. There's bound to be some oil in that dirt. An idiot wouldn't do that to their car.
No.
What you do when you say, I'm just going to eat right. I'm not going to take any vitamins. I'm just going to eat right. My doctor says I can get everything I need if I just eat right. Well, that doctor should go to jail who says stuff like that. Okay, the odds are he has kids in college and tuition is due, so he's telling you that because he knows you're going to have to come in to deal with something going on so he can pay for the college for the kids. Okay, so with all that said, the good food, bad food list. So that's why we have to deal with the good food, bad food list. The good foods are things that provide things that we need. We need protein, we need carbohydrates, we need minerals, we need vitamins, we need amino acids for proteins and so forth. We need all that stuff. Okay, those are the good foods. And doctors have made a lot of mistakes. They think that cholesterol is bad. Cholesterol is your best friend, because 25% of your brain weight and 25% of your spinal cord weight is cholesterol. It's the white matter of the brain. It's the myelin. You've heard of myelin. It's the white matter in the brain and the spinal cord. That's 100% cholesterol.
Gosh.
If you give up cholesterol, stop eating eggs, and take cholesterol-lowering medication, you're going to be one sick puppy in a couple of months.
Well, I've seen that too.
Okay, and you've seen, well, why are they having all these problems? Okay, why are they having memory problems? Why are they having Alzheimer's disease? Why are they having things like, where they have all kinds of degeneration, like demyelinization, and they're having tremors and all this kind of stuff going on. Okay, and it's one of those things where you just have to think, where did all this stuff come from? Okay, to give up cholesterol. Well, they made a big mistake. They made a big mistake back in the turn of the century, 1900. And they said, oh, blockages of the arteries are caused by eating too much cholesterol. There's cholesterol in there. No, not even close. Okay. The cholesterol has nothing to do with, let's see here. Cholesterol has nothing to do. I'm getting my Australia stuff out here. Cholesterol has nothing to do with blocked arteries. It has to do with cooking oils, fried foods, bacon and ham and stuff like that. Okay. That's where the problem comes in. Okay. And so it's one of those things where you have to pay attention. And so I always tell people, eat 3 eggs twice a day with soft yolks, soft scrambled in butter, not margarine, not oil, soft poached, soft boiled. Hard-boiled eggs won't work because it kills the cholesterol, and fried eggs will cause cancer. So you want soft yolks. People say, well, I only eat the whites because the yolks are bad. No. You know, that little white dot on top of the yolk is a chick. The little white dot on top of the yolk is a chick. And when you incubate that egg, the chicken egg, for 26 days, what happens is that little dot in 26 days, you have a full-blown chick pecks its way out of the egg. It's got a beating heart. It's got all those arteries and veins. It's got a liver. It's got a stomach and intestines. It's got kidneys. It's got a brain. It's got eyes. It's got skin. It's got muscles. It's got bones and joints and all this kind of stuff. It came from all those nutrients in that egg.
Amazing, isn't it?
It's amazing. All those nutrients in the egg made that chick in 26 days.
Yeah, what came first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah, which came first, the chicken or the egg? The egg came first. Okay, and so what we have to do is make sure, and I do that very faithfully, and I've got a witness and all the people in my household, and when I go on the road, I will eat 3 soft scrambled eggs and butter for breakfast, and 3 poached eggs, soft poached eggs for dinner, along with my chicken of the sea, tuna. I'll have some chicken of the sea. I'll have salmon. I will have lamb chops. I'll have a beefsteak, and so forth. And very careful of what I eat. You've heard of a guy by the name of Bruce Lee, right?
Yes.
Remember Bruce Lee, or of him?
I do.
Bruce Lee was held up as the perfect man. He was fit. I mean, he did exercise more than any human being could do. I mean, he didn't have a gram of fat on him. I mean, he was just all muscle. and he could just go all day and all this and the other. And then he died at age 32.
That's
Bam!
sad.
I mean, he was dead. Now that was in 1973 when he died at age 32, 49 years ago. And just a week ago, they came out with his diagnosis, what he died from. 49 years later, they came out with his diagnosis. Now, I hope you're sitting down, Bronnie.
I am.
Okay. They said he died of drinking too much water.
Okay.
So I spent half a Saturday and half a Sunday this last weekend going through all his reported diets and all his everything he ate and supplemented and everything. I went through it all. And guess what? I figured out why he died at age 32.
Was
Number
it from
one,
drinking too much water?
no. Nope, that wasn't even close. No, that was not the problem. First thing he ate for breakfast every morning for his entire life, when he wasn't drinking breast milk, the first thing he ate was, and for the rest of his entire life, his breakfast was muesli. Now, do you know what muesli is?
Yeah, muesli, yeah.
What's
Uncooked
muesli?
It's uncooked oats, isn't it?
Hmm?
Uncooked oats.
Well, uncooked oats, and it's kind of like a porridge. They grind it up into a porridge, but it's uncooked oats. You got it right. Gluten alert, gluten alert, gluten alert. And then he had, after he was done with his breakfast, he had some fruit with it, but that was his breakfast for his whole life. He also had, one of these, a shake. Okay, he had a shake. Okay. And in that shake, he put wheat germ. Gluten alert, gluten alert, gluten alert, gluten alert.
He's blocking himself up a lot, isn't he?
Yeah. And then for lunch and dinner, he had spaghetti every day. Gluten alert, gluten alert, gluten alert, gluten alert.
Oh my goodness.
And then for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, he had bread, whole grain bread. Gluten alert, gluten alert, gluten alert.
I'm surprised he got to the age he did.
You're exactly right. It's surprising he lived to be 32 because he died of hypertrophic cardiomyopathy heart disease, sudden heart death that these young athletes died from. Because the only supplement he was taking, now, because everywhere they went through all his life, his daily life, and he supplemented. The only supplement I could find that he took every day, let me back up. The only supplement I found that he took, although people said he supplemented, the only one that he said he supplemented with every day was magnesium. I'm assuming he had muscle cramps. He was taking the magnesium to tone down the muscle cramps and all that kind of stuff. And then he was having all these muscle cramps and really in bad shape. So his wife took him over to her girlfriend's house, and she gave him a couple of painkillers, and he didn't wake up the next morning. He was dead the next morning at age 32, 49 years ago.
Because you can't have magnesium by itself either.
No, you need, the other 89.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what I'm trying to do now.
I always struggle with which way around it is. Now, the magnesium works like a push me, pull you type of thing.
Well, yeah, if you took too much magnesium, you're going to get diarrhea.
Yes, but and if you don't have all the others, it's
you're going to die suddenly like he did.
It's all right to say yes, you need more magnesium, but you also need more.
Well, he needs selenium. He needs copper.
Selenium, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, he needs zinc. he needs calcium. He needs phosphorus.
Yeah.
He needed all that stuff, right?
Yes.
So yeah, he missed it badly, and it just hurts your heart because he was such a well thought of person, a movie star, TV star, and he was held up as the perfect physical example of a human being. I mean, he was ripped. He didn't have 1 gram of fat on him, and he was always pictured as a kung fu warrior and all this kind of stuff, and everybody just looked at him as the toughest guy on earth. But he died.
I didn't realize he had died that young.
Well, I'm surprised he didn't die younger.
Yes. particularly with how active he was, and
Yeah.
because that what's the word I'm looking for? Just yeah, I can't say
Well,
that big word.
dehydration and overheating and all kinds of stuff. He never had those problems. Okay. Because he drank plenty of water. But that's kidding. Okay. All right. And so that's I want to show you kind of the bad side of somebody who thought they had the good food list.
Yeah.
Okay. The good foods are vegetables. That's where most people get their minerals as vegetables. And it's one of those things where prior to 3:00 in the afternoon, Monday, September 4th, 1882, on Pearl Street in New York City, in the bluff overlooking the construction of the Brooklyn Bridge, the fuel the human beings were using all over the earth was wood and coal.
Yeah.
Wood and coal go back thousands of years as our fuel. And what did people do with the wood ashes, the coal ashes every morning?
Put them on the garden.
Put them in the garden, because 98% of those ashes were minerals and 2 or 3% was carbon. Now, nutritional minerals, Ronnie, do not occur in a uniform blanket around the crust of the earth. They occur in veins like gold and silver. So you could eat the same recipe as somebody in another continent, the exact same recipe, and you're okay, and they got 17 different diseases on our prescription drugs for, all this kind of stuff. What's going on? Well, their vegetables grew in a place that only had 3 minerals, and your vegetables grew in a place that had 25 minerals in it, or 30 minerals, whatever it was. But you're eating the same recipe. Got it?
Yes. Well, speaking of the ash, this is. I remember as a child, growing up on a farm, as you know, and back then we used to do burn-offs every year, just so you didn't get bushfires, which we had a horrific amount of those leading up to over 2018, 19 and 20. And but I remember our milking cows used to love, they would run to that burnt grass on the side of the road in particular, and it was a struggle to get them away from it, to get them up to
yeah, they were hungry for the minerals in the burnt grass. Yeah.
And the milk, you could taste the richness in the milk after they had eaten it, and their production was always better. Dad loved it because the production of our milk production went up, and because as dairy farmers, that's how you get paid.
You could burn hay and give them the hay ashes if there are no grass to burn.
Yeah, we've done that too.
Okay, so
the same principle is what I was getting at.
Yeah, and exactly, very good observation on your part. And of course, there's 60 minerals. We require 60 minerals. Okay.
Yeah.
And plants only need 3. Plants only need NPK. Now, whatever's in the soil, they'll pick up, but they only need 3 to make good seeds for the next generation. So if you're eating, say, carrots or potatoes or corn or beets or onions that came from a place that only had, say, 3 or 5 or 6 or 8 or 10 minerals in it, that's all you're getting.
Yeah.
You're not getting 60. You're 52 short.
Yes. But maybe that's why I'm short in one end.
Okay. And so this is why you have to constantly proactively take everything. Take the 90 essential nutrients, including the 60 essential minerals. And of course, when we decided we were going to start a company, we're talking 45, 50 years ago, okay, we didn't just go grind up some limestone like everybody else did, and grind up some clay like everybody else did and put it in our stuff and say, okay, we have some minerals in there. They do an analysis and they might have 14, 15 minerals or something in there, or might have 4 or whatever it was. We went with the Hunzas. Their life expectancy was 120, and the UK, your life expectancy in the UK is let's see, what is your life expectancy in the UK? Get there in a second. Here we go. Is that right? No, wrong page. Wrong. It'll probably be the last page. No.
I know you put the Australian one beside you there.
Yeah. I'm looking for the paper that has all those numbers on there, but I don't find it. Oh, here we go.
It's hiding on you.
Okay, we're going to look up Australia. Australia does pretty good. Okay, the life expectancy of Australia is 82.9.
Mm-hmm.
The life expectancy of the USA is 75. You live almost 8 years longer than we do. New Zealand, their life expectancy is 82.3. Japan is 84.7. Now, why do you think that is? The United States is 75. Well, Australia, New Zealand, and Japan have big coastlines. And you go to a restaurant and you get a lot of seaweed and stuff like that for salad choices and so on, right?
Yes.
Everybody eats seaweed and algae and plankton and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yes.
And that's why you're getting those sea minerals. Americans, that's for animals. We don't eat seaweed. Okay.
Well, a lot of people here sort of screw their nose up at it as well. But yeah, good chefs have found a way to make it into a good salad, and you don't notice it there. And it's how you mix it, it's how you prepare it that helps too. Hopefully not with oil.
Yeah, you can kind of mix it up and say it's an Italian salad. Our first supplements that went around the world thousands of years ago was salt.
Yeah.
People would boil seawater and get the salt, but it wasn't just sodium chloride, it had all the minerals that were in the sea. So sea salt is different than just salt. Where they just take the salt only and add some iodine to it. Oh, we have iodine salt. So they have sodium chloride with iodine in it. But if you have sea salt, you have 75 minerals.
Well, that's a good thing, hey?
Yeah, well, that's why we have sea salt. Okay, one of them is my favorites. It's an Australian product. Okay, it's called seasoned salt. It's the sea salt from Australia.
I have that one. I love it. It's really good.
Yeah. And so that goes back to the old days where you're making sea salt, you have all those trace minerals in there, good for the thyroid. And you could take somebody with a thyroid, and the doctors want to amputate, take the thyroid out and do surgery and all that kind of stuff. You just get on the seasoned salt, and in 2 weeks' time, your thyroid goes right back down to normal size. You don't have goiter anymore.
Well, that's a quick fix. That's an easy fix.
Quick, yeah, just a couple of weeks.
And get off the bad foods too. So
well, yeah, because you have to be able to absorb that. You're eating the bad foods, we'll get to the bad foods in a minute. We're still looking for the good foods, right? And so the vegetables and berries and fruit and stuff in the gardens and the orchards, if you're putting the burnt wood ashes and burnt coal ashes around the trees, the fruit trees and so forth. And of course, another one of the first, of course, was from a tree. Okay. You ever hear of limeys?
Of which I missed that.
Limeys. Who are limeys?
I don't know.
Sure you do. The British were the limeys.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes, of course.
Limeys. Now, why do they call it British limeys? Well, because there's one guy who owned a small fleet of ships and who would go from Europe to North America, back and forth and so forth. And his were the only ships that didn't have any problems with what's vitamin C deficiency called?
Scurvy. They used to have a lot of.
Scurvy. Okay. So his were the only sailors that never got scurvy, because he would give each one a little bag of limes to eat on their way to North America, and they'd eat half of them going there and half of them coming back, and so they never got scurvy. And then he started telling the other sea captains about that, and they started giving their sailors limes, and guess what? Scurvy disappeared. Now, they didn't know what was in limes, but they knew there was something in limes that stopped and cured scurvy.
Mm.
And so that's why the British were called limeys.
I'd forgotten that.
Okay. And so that's one of those things where people do forget that. Well, that was just one nutrient to prevent one disease, which killed millions of people over the years. Scurvy killed millions of people over thousands of years. And one guy kind of sort of figured it out by giving his sailors limes because they were cheap, because he grew them himself. He gave them some limes, and they prevented and cured scurvy.
I actually heard someone say just locally here that the doctor said they had scurvy, and they said, "Oh, how can I have scurvy? I don't go on the sea," because everyone relates it to sea voyages. Clearly, he's missing his vitamin C.
Missing vitamin
else, probably.
He could be taking vitamin C, but if he's eating gluten and his intestines are dead, you cannot absorb the vitamin C. So you can still get scurvy if you're taking vitamin C if you're eating gluten.
Yeah, so just to expand on the gluten, gotta have your Chrissy hat all right. Just to expand on why you're so adamant, and why we as certified holistic health coaches are so adamant about being gluten-free. Can you explain to our viewers what gluten actually does?
Yeah, sure. That's very easy. You actually see pictures of it. Let's see here. Siri, let me see pictures of abnormal small intestines. The small intestines, hey Siri. Let me see a picture of a healthy small intestine.
Here are some images of healthy small intestine from the web. Take a look.
Do you get Siri to work real well? It doesn't work real well on my phone.
Okay, small intestines look like a bunch of fingers lining your intestines. Right. So they're in. Okay, it's a bunch of fingers lining your intestines. They're called villi. So your intestines look like a shag rug.
Might be.
Yeah, exactly. Now, what gluten does is kill those. Kill the villi. Hey, scurvy. Hey, Siri. Let me see a small intestine that's damaged by gluten.
Okay, I found this on the web for small intestine is damaged by gluten. Check it out.
And so anyway, the villi go away within weeks when you're eating gluten. They go away within weeks, and suddenly now, instead of looking like a shag rug, your intestines look like a what? A plastic tube. You've lost 98% of your absorptive surface. Okay, and so you can be taking all your supplements, but you may only be absorbing 1 or 2%. The other is going out into the septic tank,
which is when it becomes expensive urine.
Expensive urine, but you're not going to get expensive urine because you're not absorbing it.
Yes, but when you are absorbing
supplement, when people say you supplement, you're going to pee it all out anyway. Why take it? It's expensive urine. No, because most of it goes to all the tissues in your body before you pee it out. Okay?
You know, it's really puzzles me as to why people say, you know, oh, don't take that, you're going to just pee it out. Well, gosh, everything we eat and drink, we just pee it out or poo it out. So tell me what's the difference? That's just as expensive.
They really don't understand the physiology of the human body. Okay. So that's basically the reason why we have to watch the bad foods and good foods. The bad foods are fried foods and oils. They oxidize, they turn into trans fats, and they cause cancer. They cause inflammation. They're the things that actually cause the plugging of the arteries. It was fried foods and cooking oils and salad dressing that cause blockages of the arteries, not cholesterol. Cholesterol makes up 25% of your brain weight, 25% of your spinal cord weight, when you look at the total body load of cholesterol, your brain and your spinal cord is 75% of your total body load of cholesterol.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
there you go.
you must be eating butter. You must be eating animal fat. You must be eating dairy products. And of course, it was very useful for people when they would make cheese. They didn't have refrigeration because you couldn't keep milk, very long. But they made cheese out of it so it could last for a couple of months because you didn't need refrigeration for cheese.
Is that how cheese came about?
Yep.
Never knew that.
They're trying to make the availability of milk all year as opposed to just during the spring or maybe the summertime kind of stuff. During the wintertime, if where are we going to get cows out in the pasture and having babies and making milk and all that kind of stuff? So that's why they went to cheese, okay, so they could have milk during the wintertime.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, they're clever.
I never knew that is how cheese came about. You
Okay.
learn something new every day.
Okay, I'm still trying to, Siri,
Mm-hmm.
I need to see a picture of gluten damage to a small intestine.
Here are some images of gluten damage to the small intestine from the web. Take a look.
It's not exactly what I'm looking for. Hey, Siri,
Mm-hmm.
I need to see a picture of gluten damage in a normal small intestine on the same picture.
Here are some images of gluten damage in a normal small intestine in the same picture from the web. Take a look.
Here we go. Okay, the normal small intestines over here, and the abnormal ones over there.
Yeah.
Now, they're showing minor damage. Now, when those villi are totally gone, which it takes about 6 months of eating gluten, those villi will be totally gone. See, you're seeing here, there's a big difference between the gluten side, which has few villi, and the side which has no gluten, which has a lot of villi. See them?
No, I can't see them quite well enough.
Well, let's do this.
Yeah, this way. No, you needed to move it over that way. Yeah, that's it. Now close up, just close up.
Ah, there you
Yeah,
go.
got it. That's it. That's much better. Yes, awesome.
There you go.
Yeah, that's better.
See the difference?
Yes, I can.
But this is early damage. After 6 months of damage, there's no villi at all. They're gone. It's just a smooth plastic tube.
Mm.
So that's what
Like a
buckwheat.
plumber's pipe.
Yeah, exactly. That's what wheat, bran, oats, and buckwheat do to your intestines.
I've seen there's an ad going around on Facebook a lot at the moment about certain seeds, not to eat seeds, like sunflower seeds. And
Well, they could have oxidized oils. If they've been in a box for 3 months in the garage and heated up and everything, those oils and sunflower seed oil, that's going to kill you because it's been
if you
oxidized.
eat the raw, if you eat sunflower, I can't even say the word now. Sunflower seeds, those little chai, is it? I'm not sure quite how you say it.
Okay, so if you have sunflowers, you go pick them out of your backyard and you eat the seed, that's good. When you get them in a grocery store, you get them in a little plastic package. And they've been in that plastic package for 2 weeks, 6 weeks, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 2 years. Were they in a garage where it's hot? You don't know. And that oil oxidizes and turns into very bad stuff. So anything like that is bad foods.
Oh, okay. So, because like,
If you want to
yes.
eat sunflower seeds, plant sunflowers in your front yard.
So it's a bit like the Italians grow their olives, and the olives themselves are great. And I've heard you say before, as long as you're squeezing that oil out of it and having it straight away, it's fine. It's keeping it that's not.
But heating it is bad, and also putting it into a bottle and putting it on the shelf for 6 months is bad.
Yeah. So sunflower seeds and
Olive oil.
no, I wasn't talking about sunflower seeds as in oil.
If you go to the store, these green stores, and you get like the stem of an olive tree, okay, and you have all the olives on there, and you take that home and you eat those olives right off that stem, that's good. When you get the olives that the seed is out of it, and they've got some little red pepper or something in there instead, or maybe they've got little slices of olives in a jar and some oil. How long has it been in there? Yeah. Oh, it's got, you buy the bottle. Oh, they're new. They just come in. And then they say, oh, expiration date 3 years from now. What if they have it on the shelf for 3 years? That's going to kill you.
That's right. Yeah. Now, I wasn't talking about sunflower oil because I don't use any oils at all. I was just talking about
the seeds are eating the oil.
Dry fruit, the dry seed itself.
But the dried seeds has oil in it.
Okay. It might explain the things because I like this trail pack that I get, and I have been thinking that sunflower seeds were, as raw sunflower seeds, were fine. Adding it to it, and I've been noticing lately I keep getting this annoying cough, and I thought, oh, I had that before I realized I was having too much, I was having gluten, or before I realized, and it's come back, and I'm thinking, maybe there is something in that. Maybe I shouldn't be adding those.
Pay attention to how old the food is, and so that's why I like these green stores where everything's still on the stem. The tomatoes are on the stem. The sunflowers are still on the stem. It's, you understand what I'm saying? The oranges are still on the stem. The olives are still on the stem. That's good because they're fresh and they haven't oxidized.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
now
that's sort of, yeah. You know how you sort of kind of think, why have I got this annoying cough back? I got rid of it, and I knew it was because I got off all the gluten, and I was blaming the fact that our young fellow works at a fast food company, and he doesn't get out of his clothes as soon as he gets home, and I beg him to. Please stop talking to you. Go and get out of those. Get in the shower.
Well, just in the car, hosing down.
I'm tempted to have a hose at the front door and hose him. And he's bigger than me. Okay,
now let's talk about the good foods. The good foods are the 90 essential nutrients. You don't know, you know that there's bound to be some vitamin C in oranges and limes and lemons and that sort of stuff because that's what they say.
Yes.
But how hot did they get in storage and shipping, and where did they come from, and how long did they sit in the warehouse where they put them out front, and all that kind of stuff. And so you don't know. And so this is why you have to be very, very selective on what you eat and where you buy it. And then, you have to learn what is fresh and what's not fresh. And you have to pay attention to that, whether it's meat or eggs, or you want the dates. Okay. That's why you see dates on things, because people are starting to demand dates.
Yeah.
Okay? Not that they're going out to a movie with somebody, but we're talking about the expiration date. Okay. Okay. Then they need the 90 essential nutrients, 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 minutes, and 3 fatty acids. That was so clumsy for everybody running around. This store had this, and that store didn't have all those things. They had maybe 5 minerals, and where are we going to get the other 55 and all this stuff? So that's why we came out with the Healthy Start Pack at the beginning. Okay. And that's why we were going to be different. We were not going to just be another company that sold the usual rocks and clay and that kind of stuff, or what do you call it, clamshell minerals and that kind of thing. We were going to be different. So we went after the hunters. We spent 3 months going through their history and what they were eating and where they lived and what was different from their soil, the soil analyses. We got soil analyses. They had over 75 minerals in their soil, and here in the United States, you get 3.
A bit of a difference.
That's why their life expectancy was 120. Okay, because they live in these little valleys in the Himalayan mountains. They're surrounded by all these volcanoes, which are constantly spewing ash, which contain these 75 minerals. And so they're getting this 75 minerals in their water, in the lakes and the rivers and the streams. And they're getting their minerals, which also fall on their fields. Now, here's another thing that people don't think about. When it comes to electricity, not only do we lose the ashes, okay, from the electricity because we went to electricity. All right, we weren't burning wood and coal anymore for fuel, but also we dammed up the rivers to make hydroelectric. And so it didn't flood anymore. But yay, no more floods, no more floods, hallelujah, hallelujah, thank the Lord. And then they all died. Because when it flooded every year, the silt that came down from the mountains went into the fields and replenished the minerals in the fields every year. Once they dammed up the rivers for electricity and shut off that annual remineralizing the fields, suddenly now all the farmers' cows died, all the farmers' families died. Getting the picture? Because that annual rehab of the farm soils for the floods went away when they put up the dams to make hydroelectric.
Yeah, and there's a difference, guys, between damming up the river and building a dam. I mean, like on our farm where I grew up, my parents built what they called an eagle nest dam, right? And we had other farmers around who happened to be relatives. Actually, they wanted to dam up the river so that they could get the water, and those down the river, like ourselves, wouldn't get any water. And I think, and I remember this is when I was very young, in the 60s and 70s, and my parents were fighting this all the time. And but they didn't dam up the rivers. They built dams, in a paddock that maybe wasn't so, we'll sacrifice that paddock and build it a big. Well, in fact, our farm, our family farm, is actually famous with all airline pilots because they can see it as soon as they come over the mountain. They can see it, and it's their indicator as to where they are. So it's very, very visible from the air. So
okay,
very visible from space.
Oh yeah. Well, anyway,
it was quite wide. I used to swim it.
That's why we have all 90 essential nutrients in our healthy start pack. And then it was obvious that people were having absorption problems and so forth for all these other issues. We came up with the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack that has 215 nutrients in it. And that's why we came up with the secret sauces, for high blood pressure. We have the Healthy Ultimate Daily Classic. Take 3 of these twice a day, and it'll get blood flowing through blocked arteries, kind of thing. Get rid of high blood pressure. Well, if they're taking all your stuff, why do they need that extra secret sauce? Well, are they eating gluten? Are they eating buckwheat like Bruce Lee?
He was eating it big time, wasn't he?
Oh, he was big time. And he was held up as the classic example of the perfect human male. And it was just tragic He dies at 32 from just a simple nutritional deficiency because he's eating gluten with every meal.
Yeah.
Also, he's eating cake. He ate cake. He ate pie, which is fine. But the crusts were made with gluten, with wheat.
Yeah, the inside's usually okay. It's
Every once in a while, he'd eat some rice. Okay, but it wasn't, rice was not a big thing with him. It was always noodles. It wasn't rice noodles. It was wheat noodles. He would eat bread. Okay, he'd eat pancakes made, from wheat. But muesli was his big breakfast. Uncooked rolled oats.
Yeah, I just
Okay. So that answers the question. Do you want to do any more? I think you got the picture. Why the only way you can guarantee you're going to get all 90 essential nutrients and absorb them is to stay away from the bad stuff, so your intestines are not damaged. You're maximizing absorption, and then you have to supplement with the 90 to make sure they're getting in there, and then you're absorbing it because you stay away from all the bad stuff, and there you go.
There you go. Yeah,
and
I just when you just said then, was there anything else that I remember? My sister actually asked me because her son asked her about prawns and things like that. Is it a good food or a bad food?
Well, prawns, as long as you boil them or steam them, they're fine. But if you fry them, no.
Okay, yeah, because it's not on either list.
No, you can't have you can't have fried prawns or fried shrimp, as we call them. Okay. You have to boil them. Okay, and then use our tomato sauce. It has more minerals in there, and you're going to get some sea minerals out of the flesh of that prawn, aka shrimp. Okay.
Yeah. Or they live in the US, so whatever you guys call them over there.
Yeah, we call them shrimp.
Yeah.
And
Well,
you
we
guys,
call them shrimps too, pretty much.
but
They say throw a shrimp on the barbie, but
also,
we call them prawns. I grew up calling them prawns.
yeah, but also, like clams and oysters and things like that. Again, if you boil them, they're fine. But if you fry them, they're bad because you're turning the oils into trans fats and heterocyclamines, which are going to kill you.
Oh, so there you go. See, so that's how easy it is, guys, to turn a good food into a bad food. Is the
That's
way you
correct.
cook it. And I tell you what, I should have had it here beside me, but I didn't even think to. If you want to know how to cook the good foods, Doc Wallach actually has a book that came out about a year ago, because I got it last year for Christmas and gave it to all my adult children for Christmas, and got one for myself as well, of how to cook with the good foods, or cook with.
Yeah, it's gluten-free cooking and fried food-free cooking. 300 pages of gluten-free and fried food-free cooking recipes, and telling you why and all the benefits of doing it the proper way and everything. And so, we sell a lot of those books. Those books just went screaming off the shelves because people were saying, well, yeah, we didn't know there was other ways. And so people want to know. And again, if you buy, any of our books, 10 of any one title at one time, you get a nice discount.
No, that's a good thing.
And
That's why it's a good present, isn't it? Buying in bulk, is you can share it with family and
give them as holiday gifts. They'll add 25 to 50 years to their life.
Yes, and I love the fact that you actually had top chefs that did that experiment for you or with you, because they didn't believe you. I understand. Is that correct?
That's correct. So they redid everything, and they came out and said, "Okay, well, guess what? You're right."
Oh yeah, see, it's a funny thing.
Well, the advantage I had, I'm a pathologist. I got a $25 million grant from National Institutes of Health with my first paper, which was a mass die-off from pollution. 500 died in one night. Okay, and so I published that and got Marlon Perkins and Barry Commoner. Those two guys used my paper to get this $25 million grant from NIH. And we were looking for a canary in the mine. We're doing autopsies of people in big cities around the world, and autopsies of the zoos in those same cities, looking for an animal It would be like the canary in the mine. Coal miners would take a canary in the mine, so gases would come in the mine. The canaries are more sensitive than the men. They fall off the perch and die. The men knew to get out. So what they were looking for was an animal in the big zoos around the world, in the big cities, that would be sensitive to the things that would kill us. And so if they were starting to die in the zoo, we need to evacuate the city. So that's what the whole project was about.
Oh,
And that I did 20,000 autopsies for that study, published. Okay. And it sells that original book, 500 pages. 500 pages. That's my thesis. So it's 20,000 autopsies, sells for $25,000 each. W.B. Saunders Publishing Company, big medical publishing house. The average person is not going to spend $25,000 for a cookbook. So we came up with epigenetics, okay, which sells for $25. Everybody can afford $25. Yeah. And it gives all the information, but it's only $25 instead of $25,000. And it turned into a new science. It created a whole new science called epigenetics. You've heard of epigenetics. Epigenetics is a new science, and my research and the book Epigenetics: The Death of Genetic Disease Transmission started that whole science. So I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, and I understand that a lot of vets use that in their studies as well today.
Oh yeah, we're still working because there's still lots of things we need to know. We're still working at it, and it's one of those things where we are heavy on research. We are heavy on facts. We don't just come up with, somebody says something, we believe them. We say, well, that's an interesting question. We'll look that up. Okay. And if we can't find something, we'll do it. If it's invaluable, we'll do the study and do it ourselves.
Well, that's right. Now, getting back to that book, that's the one that's in the Smithsonian. Am I correct? It's a national treasure?
Yes, it's in the Smithsonian Institute as a national treasure. It's called The Diseases of Exotic Animals. It's in the Smithsonian Institute as a national treasure. The Diseases of Exotic Animals.
So that tells you how good it is. So if you want to read the full book, go to the Smithsonian and see if you can sit there and read it.
Yeah, and so that book, they have to have armed guards around that book because people want to steal it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's $25,000 each. They've stolen a couple of them from libraries. And so the libraries learn they have to lock them up behind glass with an alarm and all that kind of stuff.
But guys, you can get the smaller version for $25 from the doc. Or actually, here in Australia, we have Australia, New Zealand, Dr. Kevin Grundy buys them in bulk from you so that we don't have to pay the US exchange rate. So, if you want to get that, just let me know and I'll put you in touch with Kevin and his sister Karen. So, and if you're in the US, I'll put you on the doc's side. It's simple as that. Either way, we get your books out, Doc.
Yes, we appreciate that because
this is one of my favorites.
Ah, okay, it's all in your head.
It sits beside me all the time.
And of course, there's a CD that goes along with it.
Oh, well, I got this before the CD.
Yeah, that's right. Well, about a year after that book came out, okay, we came out with a CD because the CD had a lot of stuff that people were asking questions about. And so Rebecca and I did the CD, and so it's a set now, okay? And it goes into 37 different diseases you can get from osteoporosis of the skull. 37 different diseases you can get from osteoporosis of the skull. And it's one of those things where they're totally preventable and totally reversible, unless you're dead, of course. I mean,
well, we can't help that.
If you die and I'm there, I might be able to revive you from, but if you've been dead a couple of years, I can't bring you back.
Well, we really want to get people, we want to help people so they don't get to that point.
That's correct.
Well,
we don't get to
not any sooner than they should naturally get there anyway.
Naturally, there's no reason why everybody can't live to be 120, 140, 150. Everybody should, even people who aren't doing everything perfectly, should live to be at least 100. And for all these people who die in their 40s, 50s, 60s, especially athletes, professional athletes and Olympic athletes who are dying in their 40s and 50s. That's because they're sweating out all these nutrients, they're eating well, they're only taking vitamin C or maybe some calcium or something like that. They're like Bruce Lee and they're not taking any. They're just eating well,
just
quote unquote.
magnesium.
Yeah, magnesium. And he dies at 32. And he was held up as the guy. He was, you know, the one that everybody looked up to as the most fit human being on earth.
Yeah, it's a bit sad, isn't it? It's a bit sad. So Doc, if I'm going to, if the good Lord graces me and I do everything right to live to 120 or beyond, or the 100 and what is it, 156 or 57 is the new.
I'll take you out to dinner.
Well, I'm not even halfway there yet because I'm only 63. So I still got half my life to live. So,
Okay, let's go for it, girl.
And I want to enjoy it. I don't want to be.
I'm 83 going on 84. And most people think I'm in my 50s. They, well, you don't look like you're 83, Wallach. You don't act like you're 83. You act like you're 3.
Well, my kids are always saying, Mom, grow up. Stop. Yeah, anyway. But I love, you know, there's a time and a place for everything, I guess. But I just love life. God gave me a life to live and I want to live it well.
Well, I appreciate the fact that you're interested in helping other people. I just really appreciate you and love you for this, the fact that you're working to help other people and you're spending a lot of effort to do that. And we really respect you and have great thoughts for you. And so, you know, we'll be doing great things together as the year progresses, because I think, you know, we're at least have a community that's doing better. The entire world might not be doing better 6 months from now, but we will have a community that's coming out of this. Just like when you look at biblical times, half the world was dying from plagues and all this and the other, but there was little colonies that were doing well because they were following the good book, right?
That's
And
right.
so,
yes, exactly right.
yeah.
Well,
And
well, Doc, I know I've taken up a lot of your time, and I really wanted to get to diabetes, but I think we will deal with, because that is a very big subject, and I think we should just
we can take the whole hour next. Yeah, we can take that next week.
Well, next week. What do you reckon?
Okay.
It sounds good, because it is a big thing, and there's way too many people dying from it.
Okay. Okay. Let's do this next.
Unnecessarily. So anyway, guys.
Diabetes is easy to prevent and easy to get rid of. It's a simple nutritional deficiency disease. It is not genetic. It is not autoimmune. It's a simple nutritional deficiency disease. Type 1 could be a birth defect, but that's less than 1%.
Yeah.
Okay. Type 2 makes up 99% of all diabetics, and it's easy to prevent and easy to get rid of.
Well, we will go into that in more depth next week,
Okay.
I reckon.
Okay.
Because that is one
Hey.
subject that I have a lot of trouble convincing people, particularly those who have been put on dialysis.
Dialysis is easy.
You have some great stories around that.
Great stories getting people off of dialysis. They haven't peed in 10 years on dialysis 6 days a week. We put them on this program, which we'll go into next week. Okay.
Okay. We will do that in depth. So, as I say here in Body's World, I ask you all really nicely to stay safe, stay informed, be empowered, but do not live in fear, my friends. And when you are getting onto the good foods and avoiding the bad foods, you too will be powerful, beautiful, brilliant, and most definitely very brave. God bless you all. And thank you, Doc, for coming and being my guest again today. I have absolutely loved it and learnt so much. And now I've got to go and avoid things that I thought was helping me. But, see, learn something new every day. All right. Thank you very much, Doc. God bless.
God bless. Bye-bye.